Hello, my fourth grade friends. Today is an exciting day. We are starting Unit 4. Uh, it's a little wordy in the beginning. We're going to talk about all the things that are in Unit 4 in this letter that you will then give to your parents, and then we'll start with the page. Let's start with the letter. And the reason I want you kids to listen to the letter is because it gives you like a little sneak preview, a little spoiler for what you'll be doing in this next unit, okay? Dear family and child, in Unit 4 of Math Expressions, your child will apply the skills he or she has learned about operations with whole numbers while solving real-world problems involving addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Your child will simplify and evaluate expressions. Parentheses will be introduced to show which operation should be done first. It says introduce, it's like kind of new to this book, but you've used them before in third grade. The symbols equal and not equal will be used to show whether numbers and expressions are equal. Other topics of study in this unit include situation and solution equations for addition and subtraction, as well as multiplication and division. Your child will use situation equations to represent real-world problems and solution equations to solve the problem. So that sounds really wordy, but what it means is, for example, a situation equation is something that has a variable or the missing number in the middle of it, and then the solution equation has the variable as like the isolated thing on the end. You know, when you're finding the answer itself, like here, right? So that's once you do all that math, you'll find the answer, right? Okay, back to the letter. Where was I? To solve problems. This method of representing a problem is particularly helpful when the problems contain greater numbers and students cannot solve mentally. Your child will also solve multiplication and addition comparison problems and compare these types of problems, identifying what is the same or different. So an addition comparison is something like Angela is 14 years old. She is 4 years older than DeMarcus. How old is DeMarcus? So that would be, actually it would be D plus 4 equals 14, right? She's 4 years older than DeMarcus. So then you'd take that 14 and you'd subtract 4, and then you'd find DeMarcus's age. Multiplication comparison. Sean colored 5 pages in a coloring book. Anya colored 4 times as many pages as Sean colored. How many pages did Anya color? Well, that would be A equals 5 times 4, right? Because it's Sean's 5 multiplied by 4. It's using multiplication. Students learn that in addition problems, they're adding 4, while in multiplications, they're multiplying by 4, like I said. Your child will apply this knowledge to solve word problems using all 4 operations and involving 1 or more steps. Finally, your child will find factor pairs, which is 2 numbers that multiply together to find a product for whole numbers, and generate and analyze numerical and geometric patterns. If you have any questions or comments, please contact your teacher. If I'm your teacher, have your parents contact me. If I'm not, have them call your teacher. Okay. Or email, whatever. So we're going to start off with the first page. And this page is giving you a sort of refresher on some of the properties of math that you've learned so far. So think back to, when you learned about the 0 property. When you multiply anything by 0, it's going to be 0. When you multiply anything by 1, it will be itself. That's the identity property. There's the commutative property for multiplication and for addition, and I like to call that the flippity-floppity commutative property because it doesn't matter which order that either partners or factors are in. When you multiply them together, you'll get the same answer. Okay, so those are like some examples of properties. We'll talk more about it as we continue. So new vocabulary for you. An expression is 1 or more numbers, variables, or numbers and variables with 1 or more operations. So it could just be a number. It could be a number multiplied by a variable, a number multiplied by a variable minusing another number or adding another number or just two numbers together. These are all expressions. What makes it not an equation is it doesn't have an equal sign. If it has an equal sign and the two things on the side, on each side of the equal sign are equal, or the same amount, it's an equation. That's what it says here. An equation is a statement that two expressions are equal. It has an equal sign. So on each side of the equation, there are two expressions, and sometimes it's just a number, sometimes it's a whole, operation. Okay. So we simplify an expression or equation by performing an operation to combine like terms. So that sounds fancy, but basically, when you have something like 7 plus 5 equals b, you will simplify this by adding these like terms. They're both numbers, right? It's not like a number and a letter, they're both numbers. So you'll add the 7 to the 5, you'll get 12, and then now you know 12 equals b. That's all that means, simplifying. And you can also do that with things that are attached to a variable. So if you have, forget the letters for now. If you have let's say let's say we have 10 parts and you add 5 parts. What do you have? You can simplify that and you have 15 parts. Now what if instead of the shape heart, it was just the letter H? You have 10H and you add 5H. What do you have there? You have 15H. A lot of the time these letters are standing in place of a word, so just keep that in mind. Sometimes it's for a value. Sometimes it's a word that goes with the value, but you don't need to worry about that. Just know that if you only have a single H and it's not like H squared or anything, or some other letter, you can add these two together because they are like terms. Okay, so we're gonna practice that right now with number 1. Here we go. 1n plus 5n is what? 6n. Right? You have 6 n's. Okay? 17t plus 1 more t is what? 18t. Now I should mention, you can see it's just a single n right there, but you can also imagine, because of the identity property, there's an invisible 1 in front of it. In front of any lone letter, there's that invisible 1. It's just not always written because it's just assumed. 1x plus 245x is 246x. Good. All right. You have 9e, and you take away one of them. You have now 8e. Okay? 8c plus 1 more c, now you're at 9, plus 1 more c, so now you're at 10c. Okay, you have 5z, you take away 1, what do you have now? 4z, then you take away 1 more, what do you have now? 3z. And I like to put this little dash in my z so it's clear it's not a 2. Okay. Now that looked fancy, but you can see it's not so bad, right? You got it's just adding shapes except they're letters. Okay. Now we're gonna jump into reviewing the order of operations. And I just did this with my 3rd graders. But just remember, the order of operations is PEMDAS. From left to right. So you have your parentheses and your exponents. You always do those first. Then you have your multiplication and division. That'll come next. And then you have your addition and subtraction. And in all these cases, you move from left to right. So if you have like sets of parentheses, you'll do the left one first and then the next left, and that'll be just in the order that you normally read, right? Okay, so here we have, I see these parentheses, and that's like ding, 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 do that first. So we're going to simplify this expression here. 35 divided by 7. What is 35? You know this one. 7 times what is 35? 5, right? Then, now we have 30 divided by 5. Now that that's simplified, what is 30 divided by 5? 6. I'm going to start using my whiteboard here so we have a little more space to work. That over here. There we go. Okay. Next one. 72 divided by 9 in parentheses, so that's what's done first, and then that is divided by 4 equals something. Okay. First step, 72 divided by 9. What is 72 divided by? Well, 9 times what is 72? 8. Then we bring the rest of the equation down. 8 divided by 4 now is what? 2. All right, so I'll put 2 on that line there. Okie dokie. Number 9, let's write it out. We got 80 divided by parentheses 32 divided by 8, close parentheses, equals something. What do we do first? Order of operations says parentheses, right? So what is 32 divided by 8? 8 times 4 is 32, so 32 divided by 8 is 4. So then we have 80 divided by 4. If you're not sure, you can set up an equation over here. 4 goes into 8 2 times. You get 8 when you do that. 0. Bring down that 0. 4 goes into 0 0 times. So you have 20, right? So then 20 is your answer. Okay, next one, here we go. 13 minus parentheses 9 minus 1, close parentheses, equals something. What do we do first? Order of operations says parentheses, so we do what's inside the parentheses. What is 9 minus 1? It's 8. Spoiler alert. Okay, now we have 13 minus 8. Do you know what that is? You could, count on or something. It's 5. Okie dokie. Here we go. Number 11. If you feel brave, give it a shot. See if you can get it right. 600 minus 400, close parentheses, minus 10. So what do we do first? 600 minus 400, right? That's going to be 200. And then 200 minus 10, what's that? 190. Stop. Okie dokie. 100 minus parentheses 26 take away 6, close parentheses. What do we do first? Parentheses, right? 26 take away 6 is just going to be 20. Now we bring down the rest of the equation. 100 minus 20 is what? 80. Okay. Well done on this section. Here we go. Now, we're going to think back to some of those properties I mentioned earlier, and we are going to find the value of either box or A. And remember, way back in like, I don't know, like first or second grade, if you use this book in first or second grade, we introduced box as the concept of a missing number. And really that's all A is, right? It's a mystery number. So there are some ways you can use properties though to help yourself not have to like solve the problem. Like for this one, for example, you could go ahead, add 49 and 17, and then subtract 49 to find the answer. But if you remember the flippity floppity commutative property, you will know that 49 plus 17 will equal 17 plus 49. So this box has to be what? 17. It can't be anything else. Okay. Number 14. This one has to do with the associative property, which means if you are doing a string of multiplication, you can put the parentheses around one group or another group and it'll be the same thing. So if you have A times 2 times 3 or 4 times 2 times 3, what does A have to be? Well, there's already a 2. There's already a 3. The only thing happening here is multiplying. So A has to be what? That 4. Okay. This one's really similar to this one over here. See if you can figure it out. What does that box have to be because of the commutative property? Well, box times 6 equals 6 times 8. So 8 has to be what box is, right? Same amount. Okay. Keep going. 6 times 40 plus A equals 6 times 40 and 6 times 8. This is the distributive property. So this is having the 6 be multiplied with the 40 and the 6 be multiplied with the A. So here's the 6 and the 40, and then here's the 6 and the A. So what does A have to be? 5. That's something we've done a lot so far in this. Okay. This one's the same thing here too. It's just the opposite of the distributive property, right? So you have your 7 times your 5 and your 7 times your 9. So what times your 5? What times your 9? They're the same thing. It has to be what? It has to be 7. That's that distributive property. Okay, next one. Here we go. Now you're sort of combining a couple of things, okay? So bear with me. Here we have 29 plus 8 equals box plus 29. What do we know has to be the box? It has to be 8, right? The only thing. But then it's asking, is box 4 plus 2 or 4 times 2? Well, what's 4 plus 2? 6. What's 4 times 2? 8. So it has to be 4 times 2. And this is just a little reminder. This dot, you know, is the multiplication symbol. Sometimes we use an X. Sometimes we use a dot. If there's going to be an X in the problem, or if you're writing on a computer, sometimes it's helpful just to use the dot. So it's not like, is it a multiplying X or a letter X, right? Okay, next one here. A times 14 equals 14 times 15. Well, first, what's A? That commutative property, right? It has to be 15. So then is A 5 times 3 or 5 plus 3? Well, 5 times 3 is 15 and 5 plus 3 is 8. So 15 is equal to 5 times 3. Okay, here we go. Another commutative property for you. 60 plus 10 equals what plus 60? That has to be what? That 10, right? So then is that 10 equal to 2 plus 5 or 2 times 5? 2 plus 5 is 7. 2 times 5 is 10. So it has to be that 2. All right, you guys are doing such a good job. Keep that momentum. Go ahead and roll your shoulders. You're doing great. Alrighty. lots of review. And you know, we're gonna keep talking about it. So if you're like, wait a second, I forget these things. Okay. All right, so we're gonna use our whiteboard here. Move that there. Okay. Now remember, this n is just standing for a missing number. So if you have two numbers multiplied together, they're going to equal this 144. We don't know what that number is, so we can do the opposite operation and find the value of n by doing the product 144 divided by the other factor, right? So 9 goes into 14 how many times? Just once. And it's 9. 9 times 1 is 9. Subtract, and you end up getting 5. Bring that 4 on down. 9 times 6 is 54. 0. No remainder. So n equals 16. That means you could rewrite this as 9 times. You could plug that 16 in wherever that n is in that equation. Not in all equations. Not like each letter of the alphabet is only one value. Okay, number 22. Here we have s plus 170 equals 200. Now this means if we do the opposite operation, right, we take this Math Mountain, you have your 200 and you have your 170 and your s. If you subtract that 170 from the 200, we will be left with our s. So we'll do 170. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 7 is not going to work. So we'll have to ungroup. And we'll leave 100 there. And now we have 10 tens to work with. 10 minus 7 is 3. 100 minus 100 is 0. So we're left with 30, which means s equals 30. Okay. Next one, here we go. 105 divided by h equals 7. Well, I don't have that math fact memorized, right? So what you do here is you have the product. You know that h and 7 are the factors. You can turn this equation around so it's 105 divided by 7, and that will equal h. This is the situation equation. This is the solution, right? 105 divided by 7. So 7 goes into 10 one time. You get 7. In fact, you get 3. Bring down that 5. Now you have 35. 7 times 5 is 5. Back, and there's no remainder. Okie doke. Number 24. Okay, so this is parentheses 10 minus 4, close parentheses, times 7 equals what times 7? So this, both of these parts are times 7. On both sides of this equation, it needs to be balanced, right? So if we figure out what this 10 minus 4 is, it will have to be the number that goes in, because otherwise any other number besides what that is will make it not balanced. So what is 10 minus 4? It's 6. That one was easy. 6. Okay. Next one here. 4 times parentheses 9 minus 3, close parentheses, equals g. Now, what do we have to do with the order of operations? We have to do the parentheses first. So let's do that first and simplify that. 9 minus 3 is 6. Bring the rest of it down. 4 times 6 equals g. What is 4 times 6? 24 G. So G equals D4. Okay. Next one, here we go. Parentheses, 10 minus 6, close parentheses, divided by 2 equals B. What do we do first? Parentheses, which is 10 minus 6 is 4. Then we're going to divide that by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 2 equals. So each step we're doing, we're making it a little more simple until we have just this basic equation. E equals 2 or 2 equals B. Alrighty. Number 27. 9 times parentheses 6 plus 2 close parentheses equals box times 8. Okay. Now all we're really gonna have to do here is this first step. So 9 times, what is 6 plus 2? It's 8 equals box times 8. So 9 times 8 equals box times 8. So you got 8 on both sides. They're both multiplying. What does this have to be? To be 9. All right. Next one. Here we go. We got another missing factor. So how do we find that missing factor? We need to divide the product with the other factor. So we'll take our product, 96, and we will divide it by 6. 6 goes into 9 one time, and you get 6. Subtract, you get 3. Bring that 6 on down, now you have 36. And 6 times 6 is 36. Get a 0. So that missing number, 6, what times 6 is 96? It's 16 times 6. All right. 29. Here we go. Parentheses, 15 divided by, close parentheses, times, parentheses, 4 plus 1, close parentheses, equals V. Wow, what a long math sentence. Well, no need to worry because we know how to do it in order. First, we're going to do parentheses. But wait, Mrs. Smith, there's 2 sets of parentheses. That's okay. We're just going to go from left to right, just like we're reading. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. So it's just 25. Hey. Here we go. Parentheses. If you're feeling like you can give these ones a shot on your own, you by all means go for it. So 12 minus 5, close parentheses, minus 12 divided by 6, close parentheses, equals something from left to right, right? Using our parentheses. So 12 minus 5 is 7. Yes, 12 minus 6, or divided by 6 is 2. So that's going to be 5. Okay. For 31, 23 plus 4, close parentheses, divided by parentheses, 8 minus 5. I do like the parentheses. It's like a little hug, you know, in math. From left to right, 27 divided by 3. Well, I know 3 times 9 is 27, so 27 divided by 3 is 9. So 9. Okay. Number 32. 24 divided by 3, close parentheses, multiply by, parentheses, 12 minus 5. Okay, 24 divided by 3 is 8, multiplied by 12 minus 5, which is 7. 8 times 7 is 56. You got it. So the answer is 6. Okay. Here we go. 22 plus 8, close parentheses, divided by 17 in parentheses minus 11. 22 plus 8, 30 divided by 17 minus 11, 6. 30 divided by 6, 5. Okay. Now, what we're going to do here in this section is kind of similar, except we're going to be plugging in, or the fancy word is substitute a value. But basically, in this sentence, we know that A is the same as 4. So when we see A, we're going to think 4, and we're going to put 4 in there, and then we're going to solve it. That's all we're doing. So we're to evaluate an expression or equation, substitute the value of each letter, then simplify the expression by performing the operations. Plug and chug. That's what they say. So number 34, we're going to see that A, we're going to write in 4. 19 minus, parentheses, 4 plus 6. Okay? 4 plus 6 is 10. 19 minus 10 is 9. Now we see this A, and it's 10, we're going to put 10 where that A is. Parentheses, 80 divided by 10. Close parentheses, minus 5. So 80 divided by 10 is 8, minus 5. 8. All right. Here we see B equals 3. So where we see that B, we're going to put 3. Parentheses, 8 divided by 4, close parentheses, times, parentheses, 7 minus 3. 8 divided by 4 is 2, multiplied by 7 minus 3, 2 times 4 is 8. All right, here we see B, oops, my head is blocking it. B equals 7, so 21 divided by 7 minus 4. So we'll do 21 divided by parentheses 7, take away 4. 7 is, minus 4 is 3, so 21 divided by 3 is 7. B equals 11 here. So 11 plus 9, plugging in that 11 there, plus 9, close parentheses, divided by, parentheses, 7 minus 2. 11 plus 9 is 20, divided by 7 minus 2, which is 5. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Here we go, C equals 8. So wherever we see C, we're going to think 8. Parentheses, 20 minus 10, close parentheses, plus 7 plus, there's that 8, right? 20 take away 10 is 10, plus 7 plus 8, 15. 10 plus 15, 25. 3 more, we are almost there. Here we see the letter, the letter X equals 9. So we will write, oopsie, not a parentheses there, 16 multiplied by 13 minus 9, close parentheses. So 13 minus 9 is 4. I have to write this out this way, 16 times 4. So that's 24 and 40, 64. Okay. D equals 3 here, so parentheses 24 divided by 3, close parentheses, multiplied by 3 plus 7. So 24 divided by 3 is 8, multiplied by 3 plus 7, 10, 8 times 10, 80. Final one. Now this is where it's fun. Okay, so D equals 0, right? 63 divided by 7 times 0. Anything times 0 is 0. So it doesn't even matter what 63 divided by 7 is. It could be a bajillion. If you're multiplying it by 0, it's 0. So we're going to write in there 0. Well done, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will catch you next time with lesson number 2. Bye-bye.